The complete works of Swami Vivekananda, Volume 1, Section 3, Patanjali Yoga Aphorism, Chapter 4, Independence. First Shlok. The siddhis, that is powers, are attained by birth. Chemical means power of words, mortification, and concentration. Sometimes a man is born with the siddhis, powers, of course, those he had earned in his previous incarnation. This time he is born, has it where to enjoy the fruit of them. It is said that Kapil Rishi, the great father of Sankhya philosophy, that he was born Siddha, that is with all the siddhis, which means literally a man who has attained to success. The yogis claim that this power can be gained by chemical means. All of you know that chemistry originally begins as alchemy. Men went in search of philosophical stone, elixir of life, and so forth. In India, there was a sect called as Rasayanas. Their idea was that ideality, knowledge, spirituality, and religion were all very right, but that the body was the only instrument by which to attend to all this. If the body came to an end every now and again, it would take so much more time to attain the goal. For instance, a man wants to practice yoga and want to become spiritual. Before he could advance, he would die. Then he takes another body and begins it again. Then again he dies, and so on. In this way, much time will be lost in dying and being born again. If the body could be made strong and perfect so that it could get rid of birth and death, and we should have so much more time to become spiritual. So this Rasayan says, first make the body very strong. They claim that this body can be made immortal. Their idea is that if the mind manufactures the body, and if it is true that each mind is only one outlet of the infinite energy, there should be no limit to each outlet getting any amount of power from outside. Why is it impossible to keep our bodies all the time? We have to manufacture all the bodies that we ever have. As soon as this body dies, we shall have to manufacture another. If we can do that, why cannot we do it just here and now without getting out of the present body? The theory is perfectly correct. If it is possible that we live after death and make other bodies, why it is impossible that we should have power to making the bodies here itself without entering, dissolving this body, simply changing it continuity. They also thought that in sulfur and mercury was hidden the most wonderful power, that by certain preparation of this, a man could keep the body as long as he liked. Others believed that certain drugs could bring powers, such as flying through the air. Many of the most powerful or wonderful medicines of the present day we owe to the Rasayanas, notably the use of metals in the medicine. Certain sect of yogis claim that many of their principal elements or principal teachers are still living in their old bodies. Patanjali, the great authority on yoga, does not deny it. The power of words. There are certain sacred words called mantras which have power when repeated under a proper condition to produce this extraordinary power. We are living in the midst of such a mass of miracles day and night that we do not think anything of them. There is no limit to man's power, the power of words and the power of mind. Mortification. You find that every religion, mortification and asceticism have been practiced. In this religious conception, the Hindus always go to the extremes. You will find men with their hands up all their lives until their hands with wither and die. Men keep standing day and night until their feet swell, and if they leave, the legs become so stiff in this position that they can no more bend them, and but have to stand all their lives. I once saw a man who had kept his hands raised in this way, and I asked him how it felt when he did it first. He said it was awful torture. It was just such a torture that he had to go to the river and put himself in water, and that allayed the pain for a little while. After a month, he did not suffer much. Through such practices, powers, that is siddhis, can be attained. Concentration in samadhi, and that is yoga proper. That is the principal theme of this science, and it is the highest means. The preceding ones are only secondary, and we cannot attain to the highest through them. Samadhi is the means through which we can gain anything and everything, mental, moral, or spiritual. Shlok 2. The change into another species is by the feeling in the nature. Patanjali has advanced the proportion that this power come by birth, sometimes by chemical means or through mortification. He also admits that his body can be kept for any length of time. Now, he goes on to state what is the cause of the changes of the body into another species. He says this is done by the feeling of in the nature, which he explains in the next aphorism. Shlok 3. Good and bad deeds are not the direct causes in the transformation of nature, but they act as breakers of obstacles to the evolutions of nature. As a farmer breaks the obstacles, of course, of water, which then runs down by its own nature. The water for irrigation to a field is already in the canal. Only shut it by the gates. Only shut it by the gates. The farmer opens these gates and the water flows in by itself by the law of gravitation. So all progress and power are already in every man. Perfection is man's nature. Only it is buried in and prevented from taking its proper course. If anyone can take the bar off is in Rush's nature. Those we then the man attains the power which are his already. Those we call wicked become saints, and as soon as the bar is broken and nature rushes in, it is nature that is driving us towards perfection, and eventually she will bring everyone there. All these practices and struggles of to become religious are only negative works. To take off the bars and open the doors to the perfection which is our birthright, our nature. Today, the evolution theory of the ancient yogis will be better understood in the light of modern research, and at the theory of the yogis is better explanation. Two causes of evolution advanced by the moderns, sexual selection and survival of the fittest, are inadequate. Suppose human knowledge to have advanced so much as to eliminate competitions, but from the function to acquiring physical subsistence and of acquiring a mate. Then according to moderns, humans progress will stop and race will die. The result of this theory is to furnish every oppressor with an argument to calm the qualms of consciousness. Men are not lacking who possesses as philosophers want to kill out all wicked and incompetent persons. They are, of course, the only judges of competence and thus preserve the human race. But the great ancient evolutionist Patanjali declares that the true secret of evolution is the manifestation of the perfection which is already in every being. that this perfection has been buried and the infinite tide behind it struggling to express itself. These struggles and competitions are but the result of our ignorance because we do not know the proper way to unlock the gate and let the water in. This infinite tide behind must express itself. It is the cause of all manifestation. Competitions for life or sex gratification are only momentary unless extraneous effects caused by ignorance. Even when all competitions has ceased, this perfect nature behind will make us go forward until everyone has become perfect. Therefore, there is no reason to believe that competition is necessary to progress. In the animal, the man was surprised, but as soon as the door was opened, out rushed a man. So, in the man, there is a potential God kept in by the locks and bars and ignorance. When knowledge breaks these bars, God becomes manifest. Shlok 4. From egoism alone proceeds the creation of mind. The theory of karma is that we suffer for our good and or our bad deeds, and the whole scope of philosophy is to reach the glory of man. All the scriptures sing the glory of man, of the soul, and then in the same breath they preach karma. A good deed brings such a result, and a bad deed such another. But if the soul can be acted upon by the good and bad deed, the soul amounts to nothing. Bad deeds put a bar to the manifestation of the nature of the Purush. Good deeds take the obstacles off, and the glory of the Purusha becomes manifest. The Purush itself is the never changed. Whatever you do, never destroy your own glory, your own nature, because the soul cannot be acted upon by anything. Only a veil is spread before it, hiding its perfection. With a view or to exhaustion, they are karma quickly. Yogis create kaya kaya vyuha, or a group of bodies in which to work it out. For all these bodies, they create minds from egoism. These are called created minds, in contradiction to the original minds. Shlok 5. Though the activities of different created minds are various, the one original mind is the controller of all them. These different minds, which act in these different bodies, are called as made minds, and the bodies made bodies, that is manufactured bodies and minds. Matter and mind are like two inexhaustible storehouses. When you become a yogi, you learn the secret of their control. It was yours all the time, but you had forgotten it. When you become a yogi, you recollect it. Then you can do anything with it, manipulate it in every way you like. The material out of which a manufactured mind is created is the very same material which is used for macroscosm. It is not that mind is one thing and the matter another. They are different aspects of the same thing. Asmita, egoism, is a material. The fine state of establishment or existence out of which these made minds, made bodies of the yogi are manufactured. Therefore, when the yogi has found the secret of these energies of nature, he can manufacture any number of bodies or minds or the substances known as egoism. Shlok 6. Among the various chittas, that which is attained by samadhi is desireless. Among all the various minds that we see in various men, only that mind which has attained to samadhi, perfect concentration, is the highest. A man who has attained certain powers through medicines or through words or through mortification still has desires, but that man who has attained to samadhi through the concentration is alone free from all desires. Shlok 7. Work, works are neither black or nor white for the yogis. For others, they are threshold, black, white, and mixed. When the yogi has attained perfection, his action and the karma produced by those actions do not bind him because he did not desire them. He just walks on, he works to do good, and he does good, but does not care for the result, and it will not come to him. But for ordinary men, you have to not attain to the highest state. Works are the three kinds: black, white, and mixed. Black is evil action, white is good action. Shlok 8. From the threefold works are manifested in the E state only those desires which are fitting to that state alone. The others are held in abeyance for the time being. Suppose I have made the three kinds of karmas, good, bad, and mixed, and I suppose I die and become a god in heaven. The desire of good body are not the same as the desire in human body. The god body neither eats nor drinks. What becomes of my past unworked karmas, which produce as their effect the desire to eat and drink? Where would these karmas go when I become a god? The answer is that desire can only manifest themselves in a proper environment. Only those desires will come out for which environment is fitted. The rest will remain stored up in this life. We have many good godly desires, many human desires, many animal desires. If I take a good body, only the good desire will come up because for them the environment are suitable. And if I take an animal body, only the animal desire will come up and a good desire will wait. What does this show? That by means of which is suited to and filtered for the environments will comes out. This shows that the power of environment is the great check to control even karma itself. Shlok 9. There is a consecutiveness in desire, even though separated by species, time, and space. There being identification of memory and impressions. Experiences become fine, become impressions. Impressions revivified becomes memory. The word the word memory here includes unconscious coordination of past experiences, reduced to impressions with present conscious action. In each body, the group of impressions acquired in the similar body only become the cause of action in that body. The experiences of the dissimilar body are held in abeyance. Each body acts as if it were a descendant of the series of bodies of this species along. Thus, consecutiveness of desire is not to be broken. Shlok 10. The thirst for happiness being eternal, desire are without beginning. All experiences is preceded by desire for happiness. There was no beginning of experience as each each fresh experience is built upon the tendency generated by the past experience. Therefore, desire is without beginning. Shlok 11th. Being held together by cause, effect, support, and object is the absence of this. It is its absence. Desire are held together by cause and effect. If a desire has been raised, it does not die without producing its effect. Then again, the mind stuff is the great storehouse, the support of all past desires reduced to samskar form. Until they have worked themselves out, they will not die. Moreover, so long as the senses receive the external object, fresh desires will arise. If it is possible to get rid of the cause, effect, support, and object of desires, then alone it will vanish. Shlok 12. The past and the future exist in their own nature, qualities having different ways. The idea is that existence have come out of non-existence, the past future, though not existing in the manifested form, yet exist in the fine form. The cause are the pain-bearing obstacles, and the action are the effects are and the actions and the effects are species, life, and experience of pleasure and pain. Shlok 13th. They are manifested or fine beings of the nature of the gunas. They are manifested or fine beings of the nature of the gunas. The gunas are the three substances, that is sattva, raja, and tamas, whose gross state is the sensible universe. Past and future arise from the different modes of the manifestation of these gunas. Shlok 14. The unity in things is from the unity in change. Though there are three substances, their change being coordinated, all objects have their unity. Shlok 15th. Since perception and desire vary with regard to the same object, mind and objects are the different nature. That is, there is an objective world independent of our mind. This is refutation of Buddhistic idealism. Since different people look at the same thing differently, it cannot be mere imagination of any particular individual. Shlok 16. Things are known and unknown to the mind, being dependent on the coloring which they give to the mind. There is an additional aphorism here in some addition. That is, the object cannot be said to be dependent on single mind. There being no proof of its existence, it would then become non-existence. If the perception of an object were the only criterions of its existence, then when the mind is absorbed in anything or is in samadhi, it would not be perceived by anybody and might as well be said to be non existent. This is an undesirable conclusion. Shlok 17. The state of mind are always known because the Lord of the mind, the Purush, is unchangeable. The whole gist of this theory is that the universe is both mental and material. Both of these are in the continuous state of flux. What is this book? It is the combination of molecules in constant changes. One lot is going out and another coming in. It is a whirlpool, but what makes it unite? What makes it the same book? The changes are rhythmic and in harmonium. Other orders, harmonium order, they are sending in impressions of my mind, and these pieces together make a continuous picture. Although the parts are continuously changing, mind itself is continuously changing. The mind and the body are like two layers in the same substance, moving at different rates at speed. Relatively, one being slower and other being quicker. We can distinguish between the two motions. For instance, a train is in motion and a carriage is moving alongside it. It is possible to find the motion of both this to a certain extent, but still something else is necessary. Motion cannot move. Motion can only be perceived when there is something else which is not moving. But when two or three things are relatively moving, we first perceive the motion of the faster one and then the slower one. How is the mind to perceive? It is also in the flux. Therefore, another thing is necessary which moves more slowly than you must get to something in the which the motion is still slower, and so on, and you will find to no end. Therefore, logical series or logical compel you are stop somewhere. You must complete the series by knowing something which never changes. Behind this never ending chain of motions is the Purush, the changeless, colorless, the pure. All these impressions are merely reflected upon it, and a magic lantern throws images upon the screen without any way tarnishing it. Shlok 18. The mind is not self luminous. Being an object, tremendous power is manifested everywhere in nature, but it is not luminous, not essential, intelligent. Purush alone is a self luminous and gives its light to everything. It is the power of the Purush that the percolating through all the matters and force. Shlok 19. From its being unable to cognize both at the same time, if the mind were self luminous, it would be able to cognize itself and its objects at the same time, which it cannot. When it cognizes the objects, it cannot reflect on itself. Therefore, the Purush is self luminous and the mind is not. Shlok 20. Another cognizing mind being assumed, there will be no end to such assumption, and confusions of the memory will be the result. Let us suppose there is another mind which cognizes the ordinary mind. Then there will be have to then there will have to be still another to cognize the former, and so there will be no end to it. It will result in confusion of memory, and there will be no storage house of memory. Shlok 21st. The essence of knowledge, that is Purush, being unchangeable, when the mind takes its form, it becomes conscious. Patanjali says this is to make it more clear that knowledge is not quality of the Purush. When the mind becomes near the Purush or comes near the Purush, it is reflected as it were upon the mind, and the mind for the little being becomes knowing and seems as if it were itself the Purush. Shlok 22. Colored by the seer and seen, the mind is able to understand everything. On one side of the mind, the external world, the seen, is being reflected, and on the other, the seer is being reflected. Thus comes the power of all knowledge of the mind. Shlok 23. The mind, though variegated by innumerable desires, acts for another, Purush, because it acts in combination. The mind is a compound of various things, and therefore it cannot work for itself. Everything that is a combination in the world has some object for the combination. Some third